Mes chers frères et sœurs en Christ à travers le monde, c'est une immense joie, c'est un très grand plaisir par la grâce de Dieu de lancer en cette soirée du jeudi 12 octobre de l'an de grâce 2023 une série spéciale de dénonciations ou d'exposer des terribles mensonges, des terribles abominations, des extorsions ou escroqueries financières, outre les hérésies anti-bibliques, anti-scripturales de cette abominable secte de Way International, en français la Voie internationale, où j'ai passé environ 25 ans. Mes frères et sœurs, je m'en veux à mort d'avoir amené mes parents, mes frères, mes connaissances, mes amis dans cette abominable secte. Je m'en veux à mort après des choses, des révélations choquantes que j'ai découvertes et que nous allons, par la grâce de Dieu, exposer semaine après semaine et même jour après jour, les exposer. Je ne sais pas s'il faut être en colère, s'il faut vraiment être dans une profonde amertume. En tout cas, je peux vous dire une chose, j'ai la colère sainte après tout ce que j'ai découvert. Des terribles mensonges, des abominations terribles, la sodomie, la bestialité, la magie, le contrôle mental, l'hypnose, la magie, le spiritisme, avec des preuves à l'appui, avec des documents à l'appui. Ce ministère est fondé sur l'abomination depuis le début. Dieu n'y a jamais été. Il y a des témoignages effroyables de bestialité, de pornographie. Comment il regardait les films avec certaines personnes du ministère de la Voie internationale, des films pornographiques avec des femmes qu'il a abusées, plusieurs femmes qui ont été abusées par Victor Paul Wierwille, et il regardait des films pornographiques impliquant des chiens qui couchent avec des femmes. Donc les femmes, les adeptes autour de lui, une soirée posée, comme on dit aux États-Unis, dans un salon d'ouvriers du Way International Headquarters du quartier général à New Yorkville. Il regarde la pornographie avec les adeptes, et la scène de pornographie, c'est les chiens qui couchent avec des femmes.
He also preached that God didn't care what people did with their bodies, so long as their spirits were right with God.
Not only did this doctrine provide justification for male followers of the way to exploit their female associates, but it gave Wierwille, as the infallible translator of God's Word, the divine authority to make women his sexual servants.
In her memoir, Undertow, My Escape from the Fundamentalism and Cult Control of the Way International, Charlene Edge relates a conversation with a fellow Way leader who told her that Wierwille had had sex with hundreds of women in the cult. According to her source, many of these women were actually recruited by other women to help take care of the man of God.
Kristen Skedgel was one of these recruits. Introduced to the Way by Stephen Hefner when she was 14 years old, Skedgel saw Wierwille as both a father figure and the man of God. She wrote Wierwille a passionate letter about how PFAL had changed her life and became a tireless recruiter for the Way East in Rye, New York.
Skedgel also suffered from severe, undiagnosed depression. She struggled emotionally and often turned to Wierwille for help. One night after she had burst into tears in his office, Wierwille told Skedgel, quote, "Just sell out, honey. Sell out to the Word and stop blowing hot and cold all the time. You won't have any peace until you totally commit yourself to God." End quote. Then, she says, he kissed her hard, raking his tongue across her lips.
Skedgel was confused by this incident, but she didn't interpret it as a sexual assault. Instead, she wrote, quote, "Maybe he's trying to comfort me or wake me up. Ironically, his touch is the only relief I feel." End quote.
Soon after this encounter, Wierwille convinced Skedgel that her job as a woman totally committed to God was to have sex with him whenever he asked her to. For years, Skedgel obeyed.
The worst part was down the hall. One bathroom with one toilet. 10 of us. 10 young women and their hair dryers, toiletries, makeup, and other stuff. Adding to the crowded uniform atmosphere were the matching blue and green plaid bedspreads on the bunks. draped like flags over coffins. They sent a clear message. Personal identity does not matter here. I'll just never forget that sight. So I took my flowery bedspread, stuffed it in a suitcase, and we stored our extra stuff up in the barn on the farm. Now, from my view, every one of us in that program sincerely wanted to serve God. We did. We had that idealism of youth and conviction about Dr. Wierwille being a man of God. Some of us became distracted, as I said, from another deeper layer of activity that was going on at the time. And I get to this in my book near the end of the story, where I really found out about it, and that was Dr. Wierwille's alleged sex ring, a little harem going on behind the scenes. I've since found out some of those women, my friends, were involved with that. It was a seduction. It was posed as love. Do it with love. It's fine. God just wants you to do things like that with love. You hear about these things with other groups, and it goes on, unfortunately, because wherever there's an imbalance of power, what's possible abuse. Wherever there's an imbalance of power, whether it's a religious leader, political leader, business leader, we're hearing those stories more and more now in the news. Unfortunately, fortunately, we're hearing about it more, and it's getting attended to, and people are going to jail. But in that environment, I've come to find out that it was viewed as an honor to serve the man of God that way. And one woman I know wrote her memoir about that experience.
Sadly, she wasn't the only one. Skedgal recalls an incident when, after having sex with Wierwille, he presented her with a palette of turquoise rings and told her to choose one. Noticing there were several rings missing from the palette, Skedgal realized she was just one of many who had been rewarded for her service.
As we've often discussed on this podcast, it's not unusual for male cult leaders to use their power to coerce others into having sex with them.
In the Christian Family and Sex course, which was administered to the faithful at the Way's new Knoxville headquarters, Wierwille locked students into a room and forced them to watch a video of two naked women kissing each other. According to Edge, who felt terribly confused as to why they were watching this video, Wierwille said, quote, "You got to see this stuff to heal homos like them," end quote.
A video of a gay encounter seems pretty benign by today's standards, but what happened next was anything but. According to multiple former followers, the next scene in the video showed the women having sex with a German shepherd.
Edge described the video and Wierwille's reaction to it in detail in her memoir. She wrote, quote, "The women grabbed the dog and tugged him close. The poor animal struggled to escape, but the women forced the dog into having sex with them. Wierwille laughed and hollered, 'That mutt has more sense than those chicks,' end quote."
As shocking as it may be to hear that Wierwille forced his followers to watch a video of women having sex with a dog, there was a recognizable method behind his madness. Bestiality, or sexual intercourse between humans and animals, is widely considered among psychologists to be a form of animal cruelty. Based on Edge's description, this is exactly what the video was intended to show.
Charlene Edge noted that walking out on the video would constitute abandonment of the course, which would in turn lead to expulsion from the Way. She said despite their obvious discomfort, neither she nor any of the other followers left the room, proof that Wierwille had them fully under his control.
Voilà mes frères et sœurs comment ce monsieur avait tout un harem de femmes et qui faisait le spiritisme. Et je viens de me rendre compte en exposant en profondeur la cabale juive enseignée par Ivan Castano, Mamadou Karambiri, Masolo Chinassi. Je viens de me rendre compte que dans le ministère de la Voix, pendant ces plus de 25 ans, On enseignait la cabale juive sans m'en rendre compte.
Jésus-Christ TV, vous connaîtrez la vérité et la vérité